Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and today I want to talk about the 7 modes of the major scale. This could be a very long lesson, but I'm going to try to keep it short. Will you learn everything you need to know? You might. That was just a terrible teaser, I know, but there's a lot to think about when you start talking about the modes. So let's just jump right in. The major scale is built of 2 tetrachords, whole step, half step. Here's a C major scale. That was the first tetrachord, and this is the second tetrachord. You get a 7-tone scale. There's a C at the bottom and a C at the top. And it has an intervallic structure. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step. That scale is said to be the major scale, and it has a Greek name. It's called the Ionian mode. It has a whole bunch of behaviors sort of built into it. Tonal expectations and structural or functional harmonic energy. And the biggest set come from that leading tone pushing up there. And that leading tone is a half step. It turns out that the half steps, where they're placed in a scale, are really important. Let's go on and take a look at the structure of each of the 7 modes of the major scale. So I already said that was the Ionian mode, the major scale. And I'm going to quickly run through the other ones for you, and then we'll go back and take a look at them. If I start on the D, I get a scale that's structured like a minor scale. Minor third right there, a half step between 2 and 3. It's called the Dorian mode. Now, going on to the 3rd step of the major scale and beginning there, I start right away with a half step. It also has a minor third. And because it does, we think of it as a minor mode. The next 2 modes are major, beginning on, did I say it was called the Phrygian mode? Phrygian mode on the 3rd step of the scale, and that's a weird one, we'll come back to it. Beginning on the 4th step of the scale, the Lydian mode. The half step's in a funny place, otherwise it sounds like a major scale. Weird place. Beginning on the 5th step of the scale, Mixolydian. It sounds like a major scale too, with a flat 7. Beginning on the 6th step of the scale, Aeolian. It's a minor mode, it has a minor third. It's the natural minor, in fact. And beginning on the 7th step of the scale, what we call the Locrian mode, has half steps in very funny places. You have to learn these names. I'm sorry, I don't like them. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. You learn the names so that you can talk about them with your buddies. But we also have to have a name for it for some reason, just so we can think about it and work with it. Now, each mode has a quality. It's, first of all, major or minor. There are 3 major modes. The mode on the 1st step of the scale has a major third. The mode on the 4th step of the scale also has a major third, and the mode on the 5th step of the scale also has a major third. Well, that makes them useful for major chords. There are, 4 minors, and some of them are a little bit weird. 2nd step of the scale, Dorian, is minor. The Dorian mode is a beauty. We love it. Sounds great. Third step of the scale, also minor. Phrygian mode, problematic because of the half step to its second step. The sixth step of the major scale, the natural minor, is of course minor. It's got a minor third. And then finally, the seventh step of the scale has a minor third as well. It's problematic because of the half step location on its second degree as well. Each of those modes kind of pairs with a seventh chord. And when improvising and composing, especially in functional harmony and in jazz, musicians like to think about modes in relationship to chords. I understand why people want to do that. I think it can be a bad idea for your creativity, but it's useful in structural harmony and functional harmony. Let's take a look at how that might work. So here's our C major chord. And the C major scale generally works pretty well with it, doesn't it? That fourth degree is a little bit of a kind of a dissonant, weird tone. So try this. Here's our F major chord, and I'm going to play the Lydian scale. That's F to F in the key of C. How beautiful that is. That weird half step between 4 and 5, in other words, the raised 4. How is it different from a major scale? The fourth degree is raised. There's great beauty in that, and orchestral composers use that sonority a lot. It's terrific, right? Well, the other major scale, G, has a flat 7 instead of a regular 7, right? And it makes it useful for dominant chords, G7. We've got a major scale that works with major chords, but we just discovered the Lydian scale works a little bit better for major chords, right? Interesting. And then we've got a major scale with a flat 7, the Mixolydian mode, like the fifth degree of any major scale. And it has a flat 7, and so it works great for dominant chords. Very interesting. I particularly like that sound, and of course, jazz musicians are just big fans of that sound. Lots of other variations, but it's cool, right? Let's take a look at the minor modes. This is a very quick survey. Stick with me. There's more to learn. So the Dorian mode, the mode built on the second degree of the scale, is most typically associated with the minor 7 chord. And of course, it makes perfect sense because in structural or functional harmony, D minor 7, G7, C is a minor 7 chord followed by a dominant chord followed by a major chord, the 1 chord, 2, 5, 1. And so we've got the Dorian mode followed by the Mixolydian mode followed by the Ionian mode, 2, 5, 1. It's all the notes from a C scale. So C scale everywhere, right? I almost don't even hear it as harmony. I just hear it as C, right? But I do love the Dorian mode. Why? Because of its sixth step. Now the natural minor would have a B flat. That's the natural minor sound. But instead, hear how bright that note is? I love that bright sixth step of the Dorian mode. That's what gives its identity. All right, so the Phrygian mode is the mode built on the third step of the scale. It's a problem child. It's minor, obviously. It's got a minor 7. It's got, in a way, the natural 6th degree, but that's a little bit weird right there, that half step on its second step. I'll tell you what, though, if you take, this is called the Phrygian dominant, and this is where it is super useful. If you take this 3rd degree and make it sharp, you get a beautiful tone. The Phrygian dominant sound. Okay. And of course, that's a very Spanish sound, isn't it? The E chord there became major. Phrygian dominant, raise its 3rd, and boom, bright and beautiful. You gotta love it. All right, there's a little bit more. The natural minor on A. Sounds like you're kind of playing like I don't know, it always sounds a little bit like sort of medieval peasant music to me, the natural minor. So the Locrian mode is on the 7th degree. It has a half step between 1 and 2, and then a half step between 4 and 5, and the half step goes to a flat 5. So this scale is very naturally associated with what we call the half diminished chord, or the minor 7 flat 5. That's B minor 7 flat 5. And really a cool sounding chord, and an important chord in any 2-5 that's part of a minor sort of 2-5-1. That's B minor 7 flat 5. That's E7 flat 9. That's A minor major 7. And so the Locrian mode associated with the minor 7 flat 5, gets used a lot. And again, it's not quite right in a kind of a way to a lot of people's ears. And so what will frequently happen is we'll play the Locrian sharp 2 scale. And the Locrian sharp 2 just takes that C and makes it C sharp. Check this out. It works great with that minor 7 chord, flat 5, and we like it. Yeah, and in fact, it happens to be a mode of the ascending melodic minor, which is a whole second lesson. Every step of the major scale, the standard diatonic scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that we know, has a mode built on it. The first step is Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. Learning the names is important for thinking about it and discussing it. Names of sounds are not the sounds themselves. Learn your modes. We'll talk about the modes of the ascending melodic minor soon. Yeah, really soon. Probably we'll do the next lesson in this. And don't be afraid of them. You just have to sit down and try it out. I hope this has been useful. It's kind of a lot to think about. Listen, like, and subscribe. Ding the bell. You'll be notified when I do my videos. I'll see you next time.